Okay. Okay. I put out a. This is all being part of it. All right. We'll just go. We'll go and we'll wait. I don't think we have to wait for people to come. We'll just go. I put the tweet out, so it should be all right. Hello, welcome to Time to Say Goodbye. It is election night, November 4th, and we are having our first live stream today. This is the Substack Live. This is, I don't know, Ty, when you read about stuff that says um this is how you should use Substack, and they talk about these things like network effects and something like that.
Yeah.
The thing that they always tell me to do, and this thing that they say that we should all do, is use Substack Live more. So I took their advice tonight, and we were going to do this tonight anyway because we wanted to have the election to respond to, and so we were always going to do it at night, and we just thought, well, we might as well just do it, in this way. And I don't know how it's going to go, but it might make some people realize that the podcast is exactly the same thing as a live show. There's no difference. Very little editing goes into it, except for sometimes I have this thing called Descript, and
Oh, is that your AI thing?
yeah, it's the thing where you can like press a button and it eliminates every or every time that I say which is a lot. You say it a lot.
I don't think of you as a big guy, really.
No, you say it all the time, and so like.
So are you being polite? Am I the guy? And you're just like, someone here has their removed by the AI. The AI, cool.
So what I do is I sometimes go through. I have my own things. I say right all the time, and I feel silly about it, but I always say right. And so if you look at the transcript that's put out there, and then you highlight it all, and that you can press the button to get rid of every time someone says the word right, which is fine, but it's also like there are times when you're like the right,
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right, and then it eliminates that too. But it's getting smarter at doing it. I don't know. I think it's actually quite smart, but it doesn't really. It makes the whole thing sound kind of clipped, like you're actually listening to AI, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could do better than that. So, yeah, tonight we're tracking the results. The polls just closed in New York City. Did you have an election up there, Tyler?
Dude, yeah, we had a very important election for a number of reasons. There was a special measure on the books for ballot access in Maine. Republicans are trying to push this voter ID thing up here, and make it harder for disabled people and Wabanaki folks and whatnot to vote. So that's the thing Graham Plattner and Janet Mills and all the folks up here were sort of marshaling support against. So yes, I did vote today for that, and there was some like local school board stuff and other stuff going on. Did you?
Okay. It was not, just to clarify, it was not like the Graham Plattner.
No, yeah, that was primary. Yeah. No,
that was today.
That's in June. No.
Yeah, that's in June. That's what I thought. Yeah. That's like a crazy amount of run up to that, given that we're like in November right now, that we have like 6 months to go. And already both you and I have written about this guy.
Yeah. Seemingly everyone under the sun has written about it. Yeah.
I know.
It's like slammed. It's nuts. Yeah. They're just crawling with media.
Can you remember like a single Senate candidate at this point where like they're not somebody who's already known or somebody who's not famous already, where they've gotten this much media attention? Like I feel like Graham Plattner is probably I can't remember anybody. It was like Mayor Pete got a lot of media attention because he went to Harvard and he sort of tickled the fancies of the type of person who was in the media, right? Like I remember reading a column once. By the way, I shaved my head. I remember not for this, but
I feel like you have a new haircut every week, which I don't know.
My hair was getting very long, and I was thinking about it. I was sitting down here actually, and I was like, I should go get a haircut. And then I had this thought where I was like, well, I don't feel like getting a haircut. It's gonna take too long. And then I just went upstairs and I grabbed a pair of clippers without the guard, and then I just shaved my whole head. And then after I did it, I was like, I look crazy, And then
so now you gotta wear the hat. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I was like, why did I do that? I was like, to save time? It takes me 35 minutes to get a haircut at most, right? There's like a barbershop near my house that I think is fine. And then I just sat there. Yeah, I was. Yes, it is a COVID. It is a COVID haircut for sure. But but I was like, oh well, I'll save time by not getting my haircut, and I'll save like $40 or something like that. And then I spent the rest of the afternoon like researching like fantasy basketball moves that I should make. And
with your
it's
spare
like
40 minutes.
absolute disaster. All right. Well, let's talk about the mayor's race, right? The polls have closed. I think that Decision Desk HQ, whatever that is, has already called the election for Mamdani. I think this was very, very expected, right? Like we didn't expect anything different. Like the prediction markets were saying that he had like a 92% chance to win this, and I don't think that there's anybody alive who was saying that like Cuomo really had a chance.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how the demographics come in and what the exit polling says. But right now, like as you know, we have this inevitable Mamdani victory and the one that was very expected. Like, what are the things that you're actually going to be looking at? Like, what are you paying attention to right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about how it gets metabolized both by the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I mean, I think both in different ways have been having a sort of shit fit about his candidacy, and I'm interested to see, at least on the Democratic side, if there is sort of appeasement once he wins, and if there's more of an effort to sort of embrace him as the Democratic mayor of New York City, or if the kind of icy reception he's gotten in some quarters continues. And then on the Republican side, I don't know. There's been a lot of sort of talk, pretty like wacky stuff. But the New York Post is saying that the New York Republican Club, young Republicans are pushing to use the Insurrection Act to prevent him from becoming mayor. And there are some like Republican congressmen who are like, we're exploring all our options. So I am like really curious if they try to do that or if they like they're going to do something dumb, and I'm interested in what that's going to be and like how effective it will be. I imagine not very
Have
effective,
you
but
have you ever seen like have you seen the recruitment video and the propaganda, not propaganda, but sort of the like the videos that the New York Young Republicans Club put out?
oh no, I bet they're great though.
No, it's like the most batshit stuff that you'll see. It's all just like memes. It's right wing memes, and it's this is where Santos came out of, right? Like out of this sort of
Oh, I didn't
uh,
know that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
it's
we.
like kind of
Yeah.
a right wing online culture that comes out, and they actually were pretty good at organizing power in Long Island specifically, which is where Santos was, right? Um, but it's like the most. It's first of all, it's like very weirdly diverse, right? Like it's a lot of like South Asian people.
Nice.
I don't want to. I'm not trying to cast aspersion on the South Asians here, but it's a lot of South Asian people,
Sounds
right?
like you are. Yeah.
Yeah, some Latinos.
Not pointing fingers, but it was the South Asian.
To absolve myself, there aren't that many East Asians as part of it, but which I was actually surprised by because in New York City there was actually a somewhat like large reactionary uh, reaction to the hate crime and the attacks that were happening on Asian people during the pandemic, right?
Dude,
And
even before that, I tutored in Queens, and they're like, I tutored for a bunch of Asian families, a number of whom were like Trump people. Like one dude owned a dance studio, and so had like a bunch of mannequins for some reason that were related to the dancing. I tutored his daughter for college admissions, but like all the mannequins had Trump hats
they
on
owned a
them, you know?
they owned a dance. It was like Asians who own a dance studio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In deep Queens. Yeah, these were real
Really?
people.
Was it like an Asian dance? Was it like the Dragon Dance or something? Was it like an Asian dance studio or something
No,
like that?
I
Yeah,
don't think so, at least.
it
I
was
mean,
like
I
a
didn't
dance
ask a lot
studio
of
that
questions
makes
about the dance studio. I know he owned a dance studio, though. And there were all these like Trump. It was like really disturbing, actually. There were all these mannequins downstairs with Trump hats on, you know?
Oh, really? Okay, so they
Yeah,
had like
yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
like MAGA like mannequin chorus down there. Yeah. But the New York, I would say this that the things that have officially come out so far, right, is that the New York's Trump has said, okay, we are going to. I don't know if he's serious or not. I assume he's not serious, but he has said, we are going to. I'm going to get personally involved and try and block some of these initiatives if he tries to do them. Now, the question that I have, and I think a lot of people would have, is like, what initiatives are you talking
Yeah.
about, right? Are you going to block the grocery stores? Are you going to block the rent freeze? Like, what are you actually going to block? And obviously, if he did that, that would be like a massive violation of federalism and would probably be illegal. And therefore, I think that imagine that this is like one of these things that the MSNBC crowd would call like a taco moment, right? Like that, I don't believe that Trump is actually going to go and
No, no,
visit
no.
Montana. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, I think he's just offended because he's a New Yorker and he's just like, well, this guy came in and did it. On the right, I think some of the or on the left, It seems to be going a little bit better now. Like Obama reached out. Did you see that Obama reached out to
Yeah,
Mamdani?
but Obama kind of had earlier too. I mean, Obama is, if nothing, good at figuring out which way the wind is blowing. Like I think he reached out pretty early in the campaign, didn't he?
Right, right. And he sort of said, "Hey, if you have any like ideas or if you need any help or advice, then reach out to me," which I thought was pretty important because Obama obviously is still this huge weather vane within the party, and there are people who are going to now gravitate towards Mamdani just because Obama did. And
Yeah,
Obama doing so publicly is actually like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's like without question a good thing for Mamdani, right? Like, how could it be a bad thing? Unless you're like super left and like mad, you know?
yeah.
He's gonna poison him.
The angry Maoists.
He's gonna teach him how to be a decent. Do you remember the NBA lockdown, Tyler? Like, do you remember or the NBA bubble in the lockdown? Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
remember? Yeah, yeah. So do you remember that like during the middle of it, that's when the protest broke out in Wisconsin over the shooting of this guy, a motorist who got shot by the police, right? He didn't die, but he was shot. And the Milwaukee Bucks were playing a game. And some of the players, including this guy George Hill, who is this real stand-up veteran guy on the Bucks, they were basically saying, "We're not going to play. This is so crazy, right? That we're here. Like, why are we here in this bubble to try and make more money for the NBA? The world is ending from this disease, and we have like a full-on insurrection out in the streets, and we're like at Disney World pretending that nothing has changed." Right now, I found that to be probably pretty true. Right, and
Yeah,
it's going to be like people were calling it like a wildcat strike at the time. Um, that term seemed a little overcooked for me personally, but, like, whatever it is, like, the NBA version of it, it's fine. I don't really care what you call it. It was cool. And then Obama got involved and talked to Chris Paul and LeBron, and then all of all of it ended. And
yeah.
within NBA left circles, of which, there's, like, 9 of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm like an officer in the NBA left, Um, the idea was like that Obama had stopped the labor movement within the NBA, and that this was like a moment of intense disappointment that we had with
That's when the Obama bubble burst for you.
yeah,
It
that's
wasn't when he let fentanyl rip through rural communities. It was the NBA
yeah,
bubble.
it wasn't all the deportations, it wasn't the drone strikes, it
The
was like,
drones.
"Man, we were gonna have a wildcat strike in the NBA with the" and you told George Hill to
Lucky
go
Bill
shut
Obama.
up and dribble. It was disappointing, but anyway, so we have Zohran as well, right? Or we have Obama in Zohran's camp as well, and after that, does it really matter? Like, are there other people that he needs to collect? I saw the Times made a big deal this morning, which I think that it was fine for them to write this article. I'm not saying in a pejorative way, but they wrote a piece about how Schumer had not come on board yet, right?
Yeah.
And
And
like,
seemingly didn't.
yeah, like who cares? You know, like who cares? Like, why would anyone care about that?
No,
It's Trump.
well, I mean, yeah, like I mean, I don't care as a person, and I imagine like voters in New York don't care, but I do just find it shameful that these people have been pushing blue no matter who, and you got to stand by whoever wins the results of an election, and then they don't. I find that, yeah, I don't know, like I do care about that actually. Like I just think it's profoundly unprincipled after 10 years of shrieking about democracy, and then they won't. Someone wins a Democratic election in their own party, and they won't. Yeah, I don't know. I disagree. Actually, I think that's we should care about that. I think it's pretty gross,
You
and I
think
hope
we
he
should care
gets.
about Schumer, even if
Yeah,
the
I
rest of the
do, and I
party
think he should
is
get
fine.
primaried to hell. So yeah, I don't know. I do. I think we should care.
Okay, I can I just qualify my not caring?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like not like I'm okay, Chuck Schumer. I'm okay with whatever you do because I love and support you.
Chuck Schumer apology.
It's just like I don't, like you're so irrelevant at this point that I don't really care what you do
Yeah.
at all. Um, are there any other things that, or are there other demographic questions that you're looking at when the votes come in right now?
Yeah, I mean, I am interested to see like what where his support is coming from, right? Because I think one of the narratives that we've seen, mostly coming from the right, but not just the right, is that like these are the like professionally downwardly mobile, sort of like yuppie set from New York who are in Brooklyn, who are voting for Mamdani. And I don't think that's right, but I am curious like what parts of the city he's drawing the support from. and how he fares in the working class neighborhoods, how he fares in different parts of the city. I think that'll be really interesting. And I am interested in to see like how poorly Como performs, or not. But yeah, no, I mean, I think some of those demographic questions are going to be really, really interesting. I am also interested in how he does with Jewish voters in New York, not because I care personally, but because so many people seem to think that, there's going to be this like push against him because, people have painted him as an anti-Semite. And I think, I think he won a plurality of Jewish voters. So I'm curious how that plays out too, just because the anti-Semitism angle's been such a, part of this campaign and the attacks against him, besides the images of the twin towers falling into the buildings with his face in front of it.
Okay, so at 9:25 there is an update, right, to answer the question that you had, right? And the Times has put out these. Every election there are these maps that come out of the city and they color in what parts of the
Yes.
city are what. I've always found those really interesting, even though I don't know how determinative they are. But they do sort of like they're the type of map that you can tell a story in your head about almost immediately, right? So here in San Francisco in the Bay Area, right, the what has happened is that the voting happens in a donut, um, that basically you have like the center, which is much more to the left, right? And
Yeah.
so they just in the Mission District, their city council person is Jackie Fielder, who is like super far left, right? She's currently trying to start like an anti-Waymo campaign because a Waymo ran over a cat, and she's
Oh,
been.
I saw that.
Oh, did you see
And
that?
then
Yeah,
Waymo
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, dude, sometimes you're gonna smoke a cat. It's just the price of doing this.
Well, I
It's just
don't.
an insane response.
It was an interesting idea. It was like, well, first of all, like like my friend Willie, he gets very mad. He's from San Francisco, and anytime anyone from the East Coast refers to a corner store in San Francisco as a bodega, he gets super mad. And it was really weird because, like, in that story about the cat that got run over by the Waymo, everybody was like the whole press was referring it to as a bodega cat. I was like,
Yeah.
is it a bodega cat if the cat is in
No,
San Francisco? I don't think so.
definitely not. No,
Bodega is a
100%
very
not.
specific New York term. Anyway,
To make
so
the
the
cat more sympathetic, though,
my
people
point is
love
the
the
middle
word.
of San Francisco votes super blue, right? So that's like the Mission, Bernal Heights, like these are kind of the rich, not rich. The Mission is like mostly Latino historically, but now it is a concentration of sort of young urban people. It is, for example, where I lived when I was younger and living in San Francisco, right? And then Bernal Heights is kind of a sleepier, but still very upper middle class educated type of place. So that's the progressive center of San Francisco. And then all the Asians live in and Latinos live in a donut around the middle, the donut hole, right? And they all vote differently. Now here, like it looks like what is happening is a little bit more interesting than past elections in New York City, which is that I wish I could show this on live, but you can't like share, right?
No, I
I'm
don't know.
surprised that this is still holding up, honestly. Your audio, by the way, is fucking terrible. So, like,
Really?
yeah, you
I
need to
wonder if
get
it's
a
my
new
mic.
phone. You need to get a new
Dude, my
phone or
phone.
something.
I told you, my phone is
Yeah,
just
yeah, I know.
destroyed by salt water.
Um,
It's
uh,
a nightmare.
so basically, the Upper East, West Side, and the Upper East Side are voting for Cuomo, and the Lower East Side as well, like that, sort of down near Soho and Tribeca. So the wealthiest parts of Manhattan are all voting for Cuomo, which is a little bit expected, right? Down south in Brooklyn, like in Sheepshead Bay and Coney Island, those parts of Brooklyn, and obviously most of Staten Island, um, they're all voting for Cuomo as well. Way out far east in Queens, which is like everything basically Flushing and beyond, like Bay Terrace, Whitestone, all those places, they're voting for Cuomo. And then everything else is very hardcore Mamdani, right? And very most specifically, Brooklyn is deep Mamdani territory, and so it's interesting. I don't know if it's going to be bucking many of these trends. I think that there are just so many ways that you can take this exit poll data and you can kind of like change it around and you can tell a story about it. But it just seems like in every election, people kind of vote similarly, and that a 5% shift or a 3% shift one way or the other, like that's the type of thing that some of these poll dudes go and say, well, you can see like X and Y thing starting to appear, and this is what hurt him. But I don't know. I just think that at a election like this, which is happening in an off year, but which also happens to have 2 million people that showed up for it, which is crazy.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
highest
crazy.
turnout
Totally
ever.
crazy.
Um, that it's hard to come up with that type of narrative until like months and months after the election. Like, it's just hard to tell right now.
I mean, what do you think about? I mean, one of the interesting things about this election, to me at least, is like New York had a pretty aggressive. Obviously, still went for Harris in the election, but had a pretty aggressive right shift. Over in the election in the fall, and now we are, the city's electing a socialist mayor. So, I mean, that's another piece of this that I think is really interesting, right? Like, how do we understand Mamdani and his ascendancy in light of the fact that the city just had a pretty aggressive sort of like Republican shift in the last election. I mean, mostly seemingly on the back of like crime anxiety stuff. But I don't know. It's interesting. What do you make of Curtis Sliwa, by the way? Like, how do you think he's going to do? I have like a
Well, he's
50%.
doing terribly right now. He's actually doing worse than people thought he would, right? Like, I had some friends like sending me texts joking that they were going to go to the polls late. These are people who really hate Cuomo, and they're like, "I'm just going to show up at the last second, and I'm going to look at some of the exit polling, and if it's close between Sliwa and Cuomo, I'm just going to vote for Sliwa so that
Nice.
Cuomo
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
to last place." Um, I don't know. I will say that, like, look, I don't support Curtis Sliwa, but I think that as an Asian person who pays
yeah.
attention to Asian politics, it was interesting to see in some of the former elections that he ran in, he was very, very popular amongst Asian people, right?
Oh,
Amongst the
interesting.
Asian electorate. And the reason why was because they were very concerned with street crime and
Yeah.
the sort of attacks that were happening. And he went to those neighborhoods and he talked to them about the guardian angels and cleaning up the city and everything like that. And because he went there and because he talked to them, they voted for him in very large numbers. Now, the question was, will that, like, well, I remember when that happened, I would do my own theorizing about it. And some of my friends would be like, well, let's see what happens in the next election. Right. And I mean, here we have a direct referendum on what will happen in the next election. He ran again.
Yeah.
And right now he's at 8%. That's with like, these numbers will change, but right now it's like 49.6% Mamdani, 41.5% Cuomo, and 8.1% Sliwa. Um, I don't know. I guess like if you add 41.5 plus 8.1, it would be dead tied right now. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a little crazy, but I don't think that. I actually think that like not most, but I bet that like a solid 25% of Sliwa voters would have voted for Mamdani or not
Oh,
voted.
100%. Yeah.
Like I don't think that there are people who are going to go vote for
Okay,
Cuomo.
I have a question. If I was talking to somebody about this earlier, if the election, take Mamdani out of it, if it were Como v. Sliwa, who do you vote
Can
for?
you wait? Move closer to the thing or something because your eye is like getting worse now. Okay.
Oh, weird. If you, I can also take out my headphones. It might be my headphones.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Try that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, but yeah.
um, if the election were Como versus Sliwa, who would you vote for?
Sliwa.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
it's not
Like
even
no
a
question.
question. It's not
Yeah,
even a question for me. I mean, I think that Sliwa, at the very least, is like a throwback to an old type of New York that would at least be entertaining in a way, right?
yeah,
Um, and that while I don't really agree with his, like, ideas about law and order or what needs to happen, he at least like seems to care about the city quite a bit, right? Like I mean, he spent his whole life basically doing this weird like kind of campaign about everything. Um, and so I would definitely vote for Sliwa over Cuomo. Like I don't think I think most people would, right? At least most people that I know
yeah.
would do that easily. I mean, I think that Cuomo is the worst candidate that we have seen in years and years and years and years. I mean, I legitimately like he's worse. He's so much worse than Hillary Clinton. It's like not even like that's not
Oh,
even yeah, it's not
yeah.
even
No, like
close.
Hillary Clinton. Look, I mean, this is not a pro Hillary Clinton podcast, but she was like a roughly admirable public servant who like knew stuff
Yeah,
about stuff. Like she
very
was a smart
qualified.
woman who had, like cared about children getting educated or whatever. Like
Yeah,
Cuomo just
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, she had a reason to run, for example, right? Like, it wasn't just like, "I'm gonna shatter the glass I'm gonna shatter every ceiling," like, that you know what, by the way, that's a reason to run, right? Like, being the first
Yeah,
woman president is, like, a good thing,
yeah,
but, she was like, "Well, I have this whole record, and I'm an efficient person, and I can get all this stuff done, and I'm running against this, like, guy who's just talking nonsense to you in this sweet voice, and you just love him." know?
yeah.
But, this, like, I don't know, like, Cuomo, like, okay, the first thing is this, like, long history of all these sexual harassment scandals, right? Now he will tell you, "Oh, I was absolved on all." It's like, okay, whatever, you
As
know?
Flea will put it, slapping fannies, killing grannies.
Yeah, the killing grannies part is the part that has always just made me crazy because I had written about
Absolutely.
it and I looked at it, and, during that pandemic, I did a lot of reporting on skilled nursing facilities and how badly they were handled by, um, basically every part of the country. That's why we had such high deaths at the beginning of the pandemic was
Yeah.
because we did not protect skilled nursing facilities in any type of way, and then the countries that you like to always point out, Tyler, when you're going on your COVID rants that, like, like, we're open, like,
Yeah.
the reason why they had like comparable death rates to some of the countries that didn't, or even better death rates, is because they protected those skilled nursing facilities, the people that were the most vulnerable. In the United States, we didn't. Instead, we had this guy go on TV every single day and pretend to be like America's hero, right? Be like, here's the update for today. We're strong, we're together. And meanwhile, he's just shoving people in these skilled nursing facilities and letting them die. It's
Dude.
so fucked up. Um, so many of them died. He was held accountable, right, by by oversight boards, everything like that. And then now he's coming back.
It's
Like,
crazy. Yeah.
in what world? Like, what was the thesis behind his candidacy, right? Like, so, like, let's just do that. So, Tyler, like, for Mamdani, what do you think the thesis was for his candidacy?
Affordability, right? Like he's going to lower costs. New York's, needs to be affordable for regular people again and not just the rich. I mean, it's pretty
Right.
straightforward.
What else? Like, what other ideas like that were
Free
that
grocery stores, free public buses. What else? Those were the big three of rent control, obviously, rent freezes, more like compassionate approaches to crime. I mean, I don't know. I think those are the big ones. What else?
And the biggest one was like, I'm new, and this is like a new way of thinking about politics, right?
Yeah.
Like with Zohran, like I remember, I still think back to that video he did, which was when I first noticed him, which was when he was talking to after the election in November. He was talking to people
Trump voters. Yeah.
in Jackson Heights about why they had voted for Trump. And I didn't know that he was a guy running for mayor. I was just like, who's this like a Muslim guy talking to these people who I assumed are just part of his community, right? And
Yeah.
I remember thinking about it as like this guy who's interviewing them is very like it's like a very interesting position for him to take because he was so good at listening
Yeah.
and he was presenting it in this compassionate way. I think we talked about it on the pod
We did.
time
Yeah. Yeah.
without even knowing who he was, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt like I think that's the energy that he had the entire time. Like, it was like, let's just cast aside all this stupid shit. I'm not even gonna, like, wink at it. Like, I'm not gonna, like, and, like, for his discipline to not do that
Yeah.
is incredible, and it was incredibly appealing to people, um, in a way that I found to be really, like, I don't know, I guess just in terms of, like, political talent, the amount of political talent that he has is so high that it overcame everything. This guy can't even bench press 135 pounds, you know?
And then he made the mistake of like trying to and doing it very poorly.
I know. Did you see he went back and he made a joke about it? He was like joking about I mean, like, he's like so good at this thing, you know? He's like, I saw the bar and I panicked. I knew that I wasn't gonna be like he wasn't like saying, he wasn't being like, oh, I froze, but I can definitely do it. He was basically just being like, I shouldn't have done that, you know?
That's
Like,
amazing.
oh.
Well, so
And
with the political talent thing though, like how much, I mean, that is the one thing that's interesting here. Like how much of it is the political talent like what do you think the split is between like political talent and his like set of policies? Like what is it like 60-40 talent policies or like what's in the driver's seat for like Mamdani mania, do you think?
I think it's 90. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm trying, like, this is an extreme statement, but I think it's like 90% talent and
Yeah.
10% what he was saying. Now, the poll people will tell you, oh, it was like because he was laser focused on affordability or
Right.
whatever. But like that is true. But I don't think that that necessarily means that so I guess Mondani has. I think they just all declared that he had won, so that's great.
Oh wow.
Happy about that. I think that
Oh shit. That was
I think
fast, dude.
I think
40.
it was 2 things. I think it was basically, A, that he felt fresh and that he was new and that he was going into these communities talking to people in this way that was, like, outside of just being like, "Trump bad, me good," like,
Yeah.
whatever. And that he was talking to them about things that they cared about, and then the media picked it up and they started talking about him as this guy who was only talking about affordability and whatever. And that but I also think he was helped by the fact that the efforts to derail him were so bad and so just
What's
clearly
that?
insane. Like, I think Cuomo lost the election when they had that debate, and they asked everybody like, "Where? What are you going? Are you going to visit Israel?" You
Yeah.
know, and all of them said yes, except for him, and he said, "No, I'm going to stay in New York because that's what my
Oh,
job
job
is."
it's of the mayor. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like you're in a place where I think a large percentage of the population, obviously, you have a large population of the percentage of the population that is going to support Israel, and then you have a large percentage of the population that is like very, very much not going to support Israel, right? And so that's why, and I think that for those people hearing that very much do not support Israel, I think that having a politician that wasn't going to apologize and sort of like get in line was extremely appealing to
Well,
them. And
I
I
mean,
think that
also
in
when you
the
say
end, like
those
that was
people, we're
just as
talking
important.
about
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no. When you say those people, we're talking about like 80% of the Democratic Party, right? Like this is an
Right,
issue
but
in
in New
which,
York, you have, like, a much larger Jewish
sure,
population, right? Yeah, 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 but nationwide, yeah, I think his support like, I don't know, this is my theory about everything in politics right now, right? Which is that, like, and this is what I wrote in the piece that I wrote about Graham Plattner. And, like, my general thought is that Israel has such a higher valence than people think it does, right, amongst voters, that it has really become a litmus test amongst a lot of voters, and that you almost can't run for office, I think, now without having, like, a clear argument about it, right?
yeah,
Either way, but you have to have some clear argument about it, and that if you are on the we are Israel has the right to defend itself, and we are doing, or if you're in the like Cory Booker mealy mouth camp,
yeah.
like you're going under really intense headwinds at that point because of the polling that you suggested that showed that like 80% of the party has basically abandoned that position. Um, and Plattner, I think, right, or at least what I was writing was like, I think that that's his main appeal in Maine. The dude doesn't have any policies that he supports. Like he just says Medicare for all. It's the only policy that he ever
Yeah,
tries to have. Like everything else is just like fuck the establishment.
yeah.
Then he'll be like, "Oh, I support Medicare for all," and then
I will say though, on his
and then he'll use the word genocide, right? And then he'll talk about Israel quite forcefully. And I think those are the two, like Medicare for all and Israel are the two policy things that he has, and I think that that explains a lot of his popularity in Maine as well. Yeah, go ahead.
no, no. I mean, I think that's right. I would say though that like, if you go to his like, he has a lot more substantive policy positions than Janet Mills, for example. Like, if you go to Janet Mills'
Oh yeah,
website,
but come on, I mean, Janet Mills like
but no,
77
this
years
is
old.
like, yeah, no, it's not slight though. Like, if you go to her website, I was looking for like events to go to recently.
Janet Mills, by the way, for the people watching, is the
Governor
former government man who's running against.
running for Senate.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she's not there aren't even public events to go to, you know? And I think this gets back this is like this model is the same problem with Como, which is that like these establishment Dems feel entitled to the office and they're not gonna interface with the public barely. They're not gonna do rallies. They're not gonna, press flesh and visit parts of the state or city. And they're just going to demand that the other person drop out and that everyone should vote for
Right,
them. I
right.
mean, I think that's part of the whole thing here. But yeah, I don't know, man. I do think like the talent though is such a big part of this. Like when I saw Mamdani's that video back whenever that was, I mean, probably almost a year ago at this point. I mean, it was so obvious to me that he was going to have a really good shot to win, just because like he exudes talent, right? And I think that does seem to be the just like I mean, yes, I think that like anti-system politics that people like Mamdani and Plattner have are a huge part of their appeal, very obviously. And also, I mean, as you pointed out in your piece, they're simply doing what the polling says the Democrats want
Yeah,
them to
yeah.
do,
I mean, that's
right?
like the thing that drives me crazy, which is
Yeah.
like they're just doing the shit that people want. That's it. It's like people are upset that masked federal agents are kidnapping mothers and ripping them away from their kids. Um, and you can point to, well, they, and on immigration issues, they actually, and just like that is not the question that you should be looking at. Also, these polls are fucking bullshit anyway. Like single issue polls. Actually, the Times actually finally came out with a German I forget what his last name was, but he's sort of like the mildly reactionary guy who writes for the morning newsletter thing.
Huh.
He came out and he wrote a piece that finally, like, someone in the Times is like, "Hey, guess what? These single issue opinion polls are stupid." It's like, thank God, somebody finally was able to point that out that they're stupid. Like I've been trying to yell about this for years. Um, but yeah, in terms of talent, this is the most talented guy that we have had since Obama
Yeah.
on, and I think that that's the other thing about it is that people just felt like, thank God we have somebody who can communicate.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
God
Yeah.
that in a debate we have somebody who, when asked a bullshit question, will throw it right back at a person like Andrew Cuomo, right? Like when he is given when he is attacked in these insane ways for being anti-Semitic or for being for not prioritizing Israel as the mayor
Or
of
simply
New
being
York
Muslim.
City
Yeah.
or being Muslim, yeah, like existing, that he always claps right back, right? But he doesn't do it in this like look at me type of way, right? Like he doesn't do it like Gav does. I think Gav's okay, but like you know how Gav has the sort of unhinged like Zoomer like tweeting for him in all caps, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like that way.
She might
Where
be
it's
an
just
old.
like
She might be a young millennial, but yeah, she the unhinged.
okay, yeah, 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 yeah. He does it in a way that I found like, I just feel like it's always appropriate. Like, I can't think of a moment where he's responded to something where it was not the exact tone that he should take, right? And it's not just with me, it's with everybody, right? 'Cause sometimes I think we in the media actually have the exact wrong, like, uh, like calibrations for trying to figure out if something's a good response or not, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, but, like, we thought that, like, the media, for example, thought that Hillary Clinton won every single debate against Donald Trump when it's, like, clear in retrospect that she lost every single debate against
Yeah.
Donald Trump,
100%.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, I still think that, like, the talent that he has will probably end for him at the at the mayorship of New York City, which is a huge job. It's really an amazing accomplishment for him. But what I hope it does is that I hope it gets some of these Democratic operatives back into thinking like, what if we ran somebody who people liked who was cool, you know? And like what if we did that? Like what if we ran somebody who wasn't just like a cookie cutter? But maybe we're wrong because the other, that's actually a good segue. I'm proud of it.
All
Like a
right. Do it.
live segue. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Tyler, you and I made we talked about this person before, Abigail Spanberger, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. CIA security mom, Abigail
Yeah,
Spanberger.
yeah, yeah. So we did in our episode about CIA moms, right? Running for running for office. And how this actually is a democratic plan, right? We're going to have these people who serve not just in the armed forces, but intelligence agencies run. And their idea is basically like, what is the right going to say about like an ass kicking mom who throws Muslims into rendition sites and waterboards them, but also like bakes cookies on the side? Like that's basically what they're thinking
Yeah.
about it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You and I thought that this was quite funny at the time, but it turns out, Spamberger is
Security
doing pretty
mom,
well.
clean it up.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so as of right, like, have you rethought your CIA mom take at all?
Uh, no, no. I mean, look, she won Virginia, right? Like, and I think,
She won Virginia, yes.
yeah, she won Virginia. Like, I mean, that Virginia is like, I think there are plenty of voters in Virginia who are eager to vote for ex CIA, Chardonnay drinking, brownie baking security moms, right? Like, I think that is a demographic where that plays, right? And the broader
Yeah, it's
sort of
like
like,
people being like, I remember being in a helicopter above Kandahar with her, and she was sharpening a knife. I'm just thinking about somebody.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, like I mean, I think that like that tracks, right? I mean, but like broadly speaking, and she is like I mean, she doesn't have the charisma of like Mom Donnie or one of
Right.
these sort of like populist figures, but she's like certainly not like charmless, and
No, no, she's pretty good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, she's good, she's talented, she can speak. And I mean, I think so much of this too, to your point, is just like, oh, she's not a billion years old and is articulate,
Right.
and like that feels so refreshing at this moment, I was recently talking to somebody about the election in Maine, and they were like, look, I am a conservative-ish independent, and I am not voting for Mills, and I'm not voting for Collins because I'm not voting for old people anymore, and I don't
Yeah.
and this person was in their 50s, and they were like, "To me, I don't even like, the policies of Plattner or someone like that, but I'm just like, I'm a single issue voter on age now," and I really do think
Were you talking to yourself? Like, I thought you
no,
just
no,
described yourself.
but a guy who was very much flattering my vanity. No, no, but like, yeah, I
It's
think
like
there's two
everything.
things that are
He was
under
black.
he was he was very not black.
Okay.
Like it's not black as it gets. Yeah, no, but like I do think like you're right about Israel
will, because that's what. But I actually think these are similar in a way. Like the candidate age thing in Israel are both these issues where the Democratic voter base and just the public is like has one view, and then the party establishment has a radically different view.
Well,
And
yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I just think there's
Running
something.
Mills, I would say no, but then but now Janet Mills is running, where I
Yeah,
was just like, what?
but she's getting nuked from orbit by 34 points, though.
Like,
So
is there nobody else in the state of Maine that could, like, why don't they run
yeah,
you?
there's a guy named Jordan Wood who is like connected to super PACs, I believe, and just
Oh.
has no juice and puts out very lackluster campaign videos. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. There was a guy who owned Maine Beer Company, which is a big brewery up here, Dan Flavin, who I like a great deal. He was running, but then he pulled out to support Mills. So yeah, I mean that's basically it. But anyway, yeah, no, Svanberger's like talented, and I think I'm not surprised she won. I mean, I think I would have guessed she was gonna win, But in terms of like the future of the party, do I think that profile is going to play nationally? No. And
She ran pretty. I mean, she did better than expected in her
yeah,
defense, right? She did
yeah,
better
yeah.
than
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but it could be like, and then Mikey Sherrill, who is a Democrat,
Mhm.
running in for the New Jersey governor, seems to be comfortably winning. I
Yep.
think that was a little bit more expected, but again, like, the days running up, there's a whole bunch of weird like interference polls that are coming out, being like her lead has evaporated, and people are saying that she herself is a bit charmless and boring, and that but I don't know. I think that in some of these places, it's okay to run these people who are gonna just protect the lead. Does that make sense? Right? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
each triple is like a protect the lead person.
Well, also they were
Um,
both like very like vocally anti-Trump and had a kind of like gutsy fight to them, And like so I think I mean that's such a huge part of this too. People are just so mad that the Democrats in office aren't fighting, and seem like pushovers. And whatever you want to say about the policies of the ex-CIA moms, I mean they don't come across as like pushovers who are just going to sort of lay down and die in the face of
oh,
what
yeah,
is,
yeah, no.
so
That
I think
I
that's
mean,
part
I
of this
think
thing.
that in that way they're correct about it, right? Which is that, like, I like have a expectation that somebody like a Spamberger or somebody like and actually this person has actually displayed some of it, Alyssa Slackin, who we talk about all the time.
Mhm.
I just assume that they're gonna have some backbone and that they're gonna like have these very maybe carefully curated, but who cares? It's all carefully curated,
I see.
like Graham Plattner is also carefully curated as
Yeah,
much
yeah,
as
yeah,
like
for
okay,
sure.
now that we both
Yep.
written about him, and like I think that like I think that both of us, I would just say if we were characterizing it, I would say that like more supportive, right, than not supportive. But like, um, I want to ask you about it because like, are you concerned at all that this guy's campaign staff keeps quitting?
Um,
Like, let's say that like you had placed a bet on Graham Plattner, right? Which I don't know.
no.
I assume you didn't, but let's say you did. Would you
Uh,
be concerned about all the campaign staff quitting because it's like a lot. It's like a lot at this point.
I'm just going to answer that carefully and say no because I've been in. I have some sense as to what some of those things have been about, and so those were things I kind of expected to happen. So no, but I mean, I do like more broadly. I mean, I think there are a lot of concerns about his campaign. I mean, I think you know, m- m- more is certainly going to come out about his military service. And I don't mean that I expect there to be scandals, but I think there's going to be a real effort to kind of swift boat him. I think there's going to be more combing through his internet history. I think there's going to be, I think he's very talented, right? And I think, he's a regular dude. And I'm sure there's going to be no shortage of stuff
Is he?
dredged up from his past. Yes, 100%. Like, look, everyone is making a big deal that he went to, private school. He went to, like, I think Hotchkiss for maybe a year and then left and then went to a private school up north in Maine. I mean, he's had working class jobs for 20 years. He was a non-commissioned officer in the Marine Corps. He worked at a bar. Now he works at an oyster farm, which, yeah, like, I don't, I mean, at a certain point, if you've done working class jobs for 20 years, I mean, I just like, I mean, he's more connected to the working class than I am, for example. He certainly grew up with more money than I did, but at this point, I mean, he definitely has more contact with the regular people up in the great white north of northern Maine than I do, So I don't know. Yeah, I think he counts as a regular person. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think anyone who goes from nothing to running for U.S. Senate is like a regular person.
He's not like psychologically normal, I'm sure, but like, I mean, like in terms of like, not being one of these, polished.
My head is so round. Oh my God, look at this. Do you
Have
see
you
how
ever
round
like
my
looked
head
at?
is?
My head has not been shaved since I was very young, so I don't even know what my head
Really?
looks like.
I shouldn't have done this. Like now that I'm looking at it, it's like I
So
shouldn't
you're
have.
mid pod, you're like, shit, I fucked up.
No, it's like a perfect sphere. Oh my God. All right. Well,
You bring
yeah,
me
I
these
don't
things.
know. Like, so just, we can talk a little bit more about other things, but I wanted us to talk about Plattner a little bit because I wrote that piece and there's nothing in the piece that I regret writing.
Yeah.
Still think that like the attacks on him were in pretty bad faith. I don't think that this guy is a secret Nazi in any way. In fact, I think what he is just like kind of like a hopped up anti-fascist guy, right?
Yeah,
If
sure.
anything.
Which to me, that is, by the way, the main like if he has a vulnerability, to me, that's the vulnerability. Is not that he's a secret Nazi, but that he's like a pretty left leaning guy who's was in the Socialist Rifle Association, shit like that. Like I think,
Right,
like
right,
in terms of
right.
the attack ads, it's not the fucking tattoo; it's the Socialist Rifle Association, and that
Like,
kind of shit,
okay, if we made like concentric circles about who is actually Antifa, so like in our circle of people who like classified themselves as Antifa,
Yeah.
there's like 250 people in Portland, maybe 4 people here in Berkeley who are still mad about the Milo Yiannopoulos thing. Like there was like a big thing where they formed a black bloc and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then there's some people in LA, and some people in Seattle, right? There's mostly like people who say I'm Antifa. That's like the core of it, and maybe some scattered everywhere else. So we're talking about like maybe 4,000 people,
Yeah.
and then there's like this bigger ring of people who are just like, I'm gonna if something happens and this fucking fascist shit happens, then I'm gonna do something about it. He's in that circle.
Oh, for
Right,
sure.
right,
Yeah.
he's in the second circle of like Antifa dudes.
Which is like not an electoral. It's better than the first circle, but it's not like an electorally optimal circle.
I don't think that that's true though. Like that's the thing that I was writing about, where I think that people want that now because we have masked agents kidnapping people, right? Like, I think that like people who look at these things and be like, "Saying you're an anti-fascist or using the word fascism is bad," now people know the face that I make when I make the nerd polling face, I guess. But like saying like, I don't know, like, you should not say the word fascism. That polls very badly. Like, you should not use the word democracy. Like. I mean, like, I don't believe any
Don't
of
use the
that
word
stuff.
masked man.
I just think if it's the person who says it who is cool, and they make a good argument about it, then I think people can get down with it because people don't like these mass agents. And so Plattner is very good at all of that. Like, he's very good at embodying a sense of rebellion. As for his past, I mean, I do find it more interesting than you that this is a rich kid,
Yeah.
He's richer than I was growing up. He's richer than you were growing up.
For sure. Yeah.
He's richer than most people we know who were growing up. I mean, his grandfather was a very famous architect.
Yep.
His father was like,
who designed chairs of some kind that cost like 20 grand, I think.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like fancy ass chairs. And then his dad was like a lawyer that was a very famous lawyer in the state of Maine and ran for attorney general. Right.
Yeah.
He went to Hotchkiss, which is like one of these super fancy prep schools in New England. And then he ended up at private school in Maine, right? And from there, he went to the Marines. And that there's a type of person who, like, I think that if you're familiar with these types of places, then you can like kind of put him in you can figure out who that guy was, right? Like if you know these types of places. Now, you having taught at Bates and having gone to Haverford or whatever, like, these people. So do I, because I went to Bowdoin and there are a lot of people like that, right?
There used to be, though. I would say, like, no one from. I mean, Haverford was like a peacenik Quaker college, so that's not a good example. But like, Bates is not sending kids to the fucking officer candidate school after they like. There's
no. I meant the boarding school kids.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, that part I don't really like. I'm like the number one king. If I find out that somebody like went to private school growing up, I immediately hate them. But like it's like I like kind of tabled it because I was like, but he did go to the Marines. It's not like he went to the Marines after going to fucking Harvard, like Pete Buttigieg or something like that, right? Where this is all part of a big plan. Um, but I don't know. I think that it's going to be like June is a long time away
Yeah.
for him, and a lot can happen between now and June. And I don't know if he can go up more
Yep.
between now and June. I think he's peaked. And that's what I would be, if I was his campaign, that's what I would be concerned about. Be like, how are we going to get, like, we have everybody in the world wrote about him. I wrote about him. You wrote about it. Oh, that's not everybody in the world. Michelle Goldberg went up to Maine, Like, I think like almost every single one of the New York Times people, like New York Times columnists, have written about him in some way or the other. Now, we aren't the most important people in the world, but the television news has also covered him, and social media. He's like a huge social
Yeah,
media.
if you go to one of his events up here, man, it is fucking crawling with, men with big cameras and national news and whatnot.
Right. So, like, how does that go up from here?
Yeah.
Given that we have now between now and June. Okay.
Well, I mean, just
So
real quick though, like, I mean, to me, I don't disagree with you at all. I think that's all right. And like I said, I think we're going to learn more about. There's going to be attack ads about this rich kid who went to rich kid high school. Like, there's going to be, I'm sure people are going to dredge up stuff from his military service. Like, so I think a lot can happen between now and June. But I also think just living up here, man, the Janet Mills of it all is like, look, I don't know if Plattner can win a statewide election, but
against
in the
Susan Collins.
yeah, against Susan
Right.
Collins, who's been there for 30 years, and lots of people don't hate her.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they should, but they don't. Yeah. Yeah.
Janet Mills is the least popular Democratic governor in America, one of the least popular governors in America. She
Right.
is her approval rating is underwater. She is 77 years old. She is anti-union, anti-labor. She is has refused persistently to sign any bills that would limit the amount that the state cooperates with ICE, which is infuriating a lot of people up
Right.
here
Right.
because
Right.
there have
Right.
been tons of immigrants getting grabbed up here.
Right.
And on top of that, she's refused to support and has alienated the Wabanaki community and has stood against some indigenous rights stuff. And that sounds like a left-coded issue, but in Maine, there
No,
are
it's never just that is never just a left-coded issue.
yeah, no, I
Ever.
said it sounds
Yeah.
left-coded. Yeah, like tons of conservatives up here care about indigenous
Yeah.
rights stuff. We have a lot of Native people. So I just really look my point of view, and this is what I've been telling folks who ask as I live up here. It's like, look, if you don't like Graham Plattner, I get that. As I wrote my piece, like if you think the history and everything else is too much for you to stomach and you want to vote for him, I understand that point of view. But Janet Mills is losing right now by 34 points to a fucking oysterman that no one had heard of from 5 months ago. She has 100% name ID. She's the sitting governor and is getting nuked from orbit by a nobody from way up north. She can't win a statewide election. Like, if you think she can, you're high. And so, like, what is the plan here is my point of view on this, right? There's still a lot of time before the election. And if you are concerned that Plattner can't win, a statewide election, then like, you got to figure something out with Mills because she just can't win. People do not like her. Then on top of this, I mean, however you feel about this particular issue, but she threatened federal funding over the transports issue, right? Which made a lot of liberals, let alone conservatives up here, white hot mad because we're a really poor state. And they're like, we can't afford to lose federal funding over this niche issue, right? So I don't know, man. She has like I agree with you about Plattner, and I think he has a rocky road ahead of him. But like Janet Mills is not it, and I don't. Someone's got to figure something out if Plattner's not the candidate because she can't win a statewide election, dude.
I have like two hats, like, or not two, like I have two brains about this.
Mhm.
The first is like, okay, I'm going to write about this brain where I'm going to take all the evidence or the evidence that I can compile and I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it loud on the page. Right. And
Yeah,
let's move on from Plattner after this and talk
yeah,
about Mamdani. So under that, I came to the conclusion that I came to in my piece, which was that, I think that he is a resistance figure more than he is a figure of the left, right? He's somebody
yeah.
who's very
He's
good
right.
at basically he embodies the id of the pissed off Democratic voter better than almost anyone in the country, which is just like if you went to the No Kings March and you like basically screaming Trump is Hitler, um, then he really appeals to you
Yeah,
because that's what he says too, you know? And he's not like sort of like being careful about it or anything like that. And there's a lot of Democrats like that. And I think he is a resistance person more than he is on the left, right? Now, if you're on the left, you are excited for him because of Medicare for All and some of the past he has, the intellectual history he has, reading Greg Grandin or, like being really into the Michael Brooks show, all these types of things that are make him appealing to people like you and me.
yeah,
Um, Now, all that is like my writer brain. And then I have my other, just like sort of my like, like my like kind of like, how do I assess this guy just on a pure vibe, not even vibes, but just like, okay, I talked to you, and now what was the sense that I got,
Yeah.
And I got two senses. The first is he's extremely smart.
Yeah.
Extremely smart. I've talked to a lot of politicians, and I mean, whatever. No offense to any of the ones. I'm not. If you're listening to this
He's calling
and you
you
think I'm
dumb.
talking about, I'm not talking about you. But they're like quite. They're not thinkers,
Yeah.
right? Some of them are quite smart, but they're not like thinkers. And what was interesting to me was that he was like, he seemed to me at least to be quite a interesting thinker. Like he's clearly thought about all of this.
Yeah, he like
Not
reads and
just
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he reads is the best way to put it. Politicians don't read,
Yeah.
Like they read like The Tipping Point or some shit like that or Blank. That's what they read,
Sure. Like
Or
Obama's
like
nonfiction list,
yeah, or they read political memoirs or something like that, and they're like, okay, but they don't
I read
read.
the abridged Churchill biography.
Yeah, it's something like, or they listen to it on the plane. But Plattner thinks and he reads, and then the other thing that I thought was that I don't know, I'm not sure if I like fully trust that he is who he says he is,
Yeah.
and that's just fully unfair. Me being like, but I'm usually right about that type of stuff, to be completely honest. Like I'm very rarely wrong about like, oh, I think this person is not quite something's a little off.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't know about that thing. I think I'm usually kind of right. So we'll see what happens. Right now, I hope he beats Shannon Mills. We'll just put it that way. All right, moving on. Right. So Mamdani has now been officially declared. Right. Um, Based on this is from Dana Rubenstein at the Times. Based on the current preliminary numbers, even if Curtis Sliwa had dropped out of the race and Cuomo and Trump so desperately wanted, and Cuomo had won all of his votes, Cuomo still would not have beaten Mamdani. Benjamin Raskus has said it will take some time to understand the exact composition of the electorate. Still, Mamdani's victory is a dramatic statement about how hungry voters are for generational change and for candidates who run on bold, clearly articulated policy proposals. More than 100,000 people volunteered for his campaign, knocking out more than $1 million over the last year. This organizing was a social outlet for many New Yorkers hungry for connection with their neighbors. Benjamin Raskus, I actually agree with you about that. I think that probably was a large part of it. I think post-pandemic people want to just be part of some sort of community, any type of community, you know what I mean? And like, I think
He did that scavenger egg hunt, which I thought was awesome. Like people made fun of that.
What was the scavenger egg?
Or maybe it might not have been eggs. He did some scavenger hunt across New York City, and like tons of people went to
I
it.
remember
And
that.
people were like, "Oh, it's like childish." Just like, no, people want to interact with their neighbors, and they want to like be part of something. And yeah, no, I think that's a huge part of why he won.
Yeah, it's like something that people could get excited about together, right? Like they could get excited about it together. And you just need to be cool to have people want to get excited about you. And it's difficult. I have a question for you though about the sleep and the Cuomo thing. Like, do you think there's a way that this goes different if they run anybody, if the establishment Democrats had run in the primary anybody but Andrew Cuomo?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility because I think the Como campaign one
I love
like
how you pronounce it, by the way. You say Como. You've said this for months.
I refuse to
Like
change
Lake
it.
Como. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, like I don't know, dude. I think yeah, it could have maybe went differently. I mean, I think he didn't campaign really. He just exuded entitlement for this job. I mean, and his to the extent that he did campaign or to the extent that he like made a case for himself, it was preposterous. Like he tried to sell Mamdani is this like nepo baby because his mom was a filmmaker or whatever, and his dad was the fucking governor, and so like I mean, he had a garbage
Yeah,
campaign strategy, and then like the racism, I really I don't think people like I don't think that worked. I don't think that had the attended effect, like all the 9/11 scaremongering and stuff like that, all the like accusations of anti-Semitism. I just like I don't think that moved the needle. I actually think it put a lot of people off because it was unsubtle, right? Like it was not yeah, it was just like it was blatantly racist in a really gross way that I don't think a lot of New Yorkers in particularly find appealing, you know? So I do think if there would have been a different centrist candidate that, you know, could fearmonger about, you know, Mamdani tanking the city's economy without like being so unvarnishedly racist. And if he also hadn't, you know, he or she had not, you know, murdered a bunch of grannies, then yeah, like I think it would have been a tighter race, right? Like yeah, I think Como, you know, was like uniquely bad for sure, you know.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, what
mean,
do you
they
think?
could. Well, I mean, like, it's an open election basically, so you can't. It wasn't like it was a 1-to-1. Other people could have emerged, they just didn't, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But at some point, the Wall Street and some of the donor class in New York City, and all the people who are mad about Mamdani's past in terms of his statements to Israel, all have to coalesce around one candidate. I mean, they just have to. You have to pick somebody, right? And Cuomo was the only one that seemed like had any sort of traction at all, just because of name recognition at the time. Um, so, like, you can say, "Oh, well, Cuomo earned that right to be that candidate," but not really. It was more that they just couldn't find a warm body to throw up there who could talk about anything, and they got this, like, scandal-ridden guy who had no theory about why he should run, except for, like, well, like, I tend to run for things and win, and usually it's me running stuff, like, that was his it's just like, why not me? I mean, like, like, it's kind of my thing. Like, I win these things, right? So just vote for me. He didn't campaign. I think that was a big problem, right? But the question I have for you, which is just this, Tyler, which is just like, okay, you got this, like, Muslim guy, right? He's 30 something years old. He's very charismatic. He smiles all the time. His wife is very pretty. She seems very young and cool. He has energized the youth, right? And not only has he energized the youth, but he's, like, energized, like, people in Jackson Heights. He's, like, energized the sort of South Asian population as well, which is not an insignificant, and the Muslim population is not insignificant part of New York City, right?
Yep.
Um, and he's talking about affordability. He's talking about the rent is too damn high. He's talking about the stores are bad, so let's make our own groceries, right? He's talking about rent freezes. Um, like, let's say that you find a very talented person to run against him. What's the guy gonna say?
Yeah.
Like, what if you were that, like, if you're like like, what message is there that he could say? You know? No, I'm just asking.
Oh, you're asking? I mean, I think it's a really good point. I mean, also, his Mamdani's promises have been made out to be these like communist fever dreams. Other cities have free buses, right? Like
Right.
other cities figure out child
Many cities have free buses.
right? Like
Yeah.
and the grocery stores, it's 5 fucking grocery stores. I mean, it's not like he's not nationalizing Trader Joe's. Like I don't yeah, so
That'd be
like
kinda cool, though.
yeah, that would go hard. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
that'd be good.
But, yeah, no, so, like, I think a part of it is just, like, I actually think his policies to the average person, rent control, etcetera, are more reasonable than I think, a lot of establishment people think they are. So I think you're right. Like, I mean, what is the other like all you can do is fearmonger, right? Like because I don't think, like a more moderate position in this moment in a city where the affordability crisis is so catastrophic. I mean, I don't think a kind of half measures campaign is going to galvanize hearts and minds. So I think all you can do is fearmonger, right? Which is why I think, that's what Cuomo did so effectively. I refuse to learn the names of these centrists. I don't care. If it's Kamala Harris, Cuomo, whatever. I don't care. But yeah,
Fucking
no,
hell,
I mean, I just
Kamala
like,
Harris. That was so bad. You kept doing it. Every time you did it, I would cringe. I'd be like, "Can you just learn how to pronounce her fucking
no,
name?"
absolutely not.
You joined white guys for Kamala, and you did still wouldn't learn her name.
Oh, good.
Like
God, I went to White Guys for Kamala. I still
oh,
have my camo Harris Walls hat is still lurking in my collection
oh
of
my God! Can you
memorabilia.
admit, God, that what a cultural artifact that is. Oh my.
Dude, I know.
Um.
I haven't thought about white dudes for Kamala in a really long time. But no, so like I don't know, dude. I think I mean, I think that's part of the problem. The only way you can, I think, galvanize people from a moderate position at this moment is to just be really anti-Trump, right? As we talked about with the security moms, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, this actually gets to something I want to ask you, which is like, did you see the Ezra Klein column the other day about like what should the Democratic Party do?
No, what is
I'll just read you the opening. Um, Inside the Democratic Party, in its back rooms and in its group chats, its conferences and its online flame wars, an increasingly bitter debate has taken hold over what the party needs to do to beat back Trumpism. Does it need to be more populist, more moderate, more socialist, embrace the abundance agenda, produce more vertical video? The answer is yes, yes to all of it, but to none of it in particular. The Democratic Party does not need to choose to be one thing; it needs to choose to be more things. Right. So Ezra's point was like the Dems need to have this like broader, big tent thing ideologically.
yeah,
Yes, we should, where socialists can win, we should run socialists. Where
yeah,
security moms
yeah.
can win, we can run security moms, etc. I mean, do you think he's right, or do you think the party needs a galvanizing national agenda with, yes, some wiggle room for running in more rural states versus more diehard blue states, but like basically this is what the party stands for? Or do you think Ezra's right that like this ideological hodgepodge is like the right approach?
I mean, I think Ezra's probably right on just on a very basic level that there are places where you should run different types of candidates because of the electorate is different, you know? That just seems very obvious to me. Um, I don't think there needs to be a type of candidate that comes out and runs. Like I've said always, I just think that the only thing they need to do is basically give the middle finger to the establishment and they're fine. Like they can have any politics as long
Right.
as they do that, and then they'll do well, right? Because only thing that people feel is that they hate the establishment of the party. Um, and so as long as they do that, I think they'll do well. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I guess I get frustrated with this type of thinking a lot of times because I feel like it's always presented in this whispery way, like, hey, only I know, you know? Only I know. Hey, you leftists, you're so intolerant. Like every time we try and run somebody who you don't like, you shout them down on Twitter, and a bunch of anonymous, like antisocial weirdos who are leftists are controlling democracy and preventing these people from running in places where nobody knows they don't even know what Chapo Trap House is. Like, like that type of argument that's made. It just like I'm just over it at this point. Like, yes, different candidates should run in different places, right? A different candidate should run like Zohran Mondani is not going to win like the governor of Indiana, right? Yeah, okay, cool. I agree with you, right? But what I find interesting is that the people who are overly prescriptive about what things are and what they should be and what the Democratic Party should, it's all fucking them. They're the ones that do it. We don't fucking do it. I swear to God, we don't, you know? We're excited when our people come up like Zoran. We're excited when our people come up and do well. Like sometimes we might like give that little like thumb in the eye to like the establishment. That's like what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The people who are writing fucking white papers about this is what the Democratic Party should do. This is the words they should use. These are the things. It's all fucking you guys. It's not us. It's you guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's not us.
No
It's
one's
you.
giving us the money to write the white papers. The
I
Walmart
know.
family is
Where's
just
my fucking
bankrolling our
Soros check?
study.
I'll write a white paper tomorrow. Like you and I could write a fucking white paper, like with a little help from ChatGPT. Like I would have no qualms using ChatGPT to write a fucking Democratic strategy white paper. I would throw it in. It would be done in like 2 minutes, and then I would wait like, what's a good time to wait? I wait about like 5.5 months. You
I was
know,
gonna say, dude, no, it has to be a lot of months. And 5.5 is perfect because it's under
it's too
6
much.
months, so it suggests alacrity, but it's not,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
but it suggests that you worked hard on it. Yeah, yeah.
I
So
would
banging
wait.
out in 2 days.
Okay, I would wait 10 months. Right. This thing would be like ChatGPT has already banged this shit out, and I would wait 10 months, and then I would present it, and then I'd be like, Alex Soros, where's my fucking check, right? Like it's
Also,
like
though, like every one of these things that comes out where they're like, we spent $20 million studying 600,000 Americans and asking them what they,
I
it's
know,
always
I know,
just like things everyone knows. They're like, actually, it turns out they're pretty moderate on social issues, but they want healthcare. It's like, we all know. You didn't need to
yeah,
spend
we
$20
know
million on
that,
that.
we
Everyone fucking
know
knows.
that, and also like it's
I
like
could have done it.
the social issues in some
I
places
would have done
matter.
that for you.
New York City just elected like a fucking dude who said that the shoelaces of the NYPD were laced by the IDF, and he won by like a lot. Like what are we doing here? Clearly, like there are other things that matter. So that's where I get annoyed with the thing that
Yeah.
you just read to me because I'm just like, all right, bro, you wrote a book that was like, here's the future of the Democratic Party. It's this thing called abundance, Like, oh, you wrote tons and tons of articles. This is what's wrong with the Democratic Party. This is this type of stuff that you we shouldn't do now. Some of that stuff I agree with, some of that I don't.
Sure.
You know, I actually think in terms of just like a pure pundit who presents ideas that I think about, Ezra is quite good, right?
Yeah, he's amazing.
But don't turn around and say like, actually, you know, maybe different things can happen for different people, and then turn around and he doesn't do this, but then like the little like posse of dudes who I don't even think about anymore because I'm
The
not on
broader
board.
set of pseudo Ezras. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, well, you know, you shouldn't say the word immigration. You shouldn't say the word fascism. You shouldn't say this. You shouldn't say that. These polls show like that 44% of people think this on immigration, and in spring of 2024, only 41% said that. So now, like, we have a total vibe shift about it. It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, you know, like you're talking absolute fucking nonsense. And so that's why I get annoyed by it, you know? Because we're not the ones doing that to them, right? We're just like rude to them, right? Because they're fucking annoying. But like, I don't tell them what to run. I'm not telling Abigail Spanberger how to run her campaign, you know? I don't know. Like, I even say positive things about them, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I bet
No,
this
I
is
mean, you're
fucking
right though. Like, it is one way
CIA
too. Like,
agent.
I mean, do you see Spanberger had the like those took some shots at Mamdani yesterday or the day before?
No, it's just
She was just like, doesn't know if he's the future of the Democratic Party, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you know, Mamdani isn't like prognosticating about the Virginia governor's race. Like, who's that
yeah,
for?
yeah,
Right? Like,
yeah.
it is, you're right. It is like asymmetrical, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But
You know who's
don't
not
you think
concerned
though?
about? You know who's not concerned about Abigail Spanberger? Zohran Mondani.
Yeah.
I bet he doesn't even know how to pronounce her name. You know, he's like you. He's like over
Spanbergler.
Abigail.
Yeah, like just notes.
Yeah. Abigail Hamburglar. You know, over great night for the Democrats in Virginia. Abigail Hamburglar beat whoever the Republican nominee was. No, you know, I'll be honest. I find that type of thinking like super annoying.
But do
And
you think though, like, I mean, uh, I mean, there's like many things with Ezra. He's like not strictly speaking wrong, but at the same time, like don't you need some kind of like consistent national economic agenda at this point? Like, yes, I agree that like you can run on different social policies in Nebraska than you can in New York City or whatever. And even different like ways of thinking about foreign policy, but like don't you think like there needs to be some national agreement about like Medicare for all and like some of these, you know, economic agenda issues? Like I just don't think the like, you know, centrism will deregulate everything, urbanism is gonna cut it. Like I don't know, I
oh
just think
yeah,
we
well,
need an economic tentpole, right? Like I think you can tolerate a lot of ideological diversity on like social and cultural issues in foreign policy, but like I just feel like you do actually need a kind of common economic tentpole, right? Like it's supposed to be the party of the working class, right? So it can't just be the schizophrenic, nihilistic, you know, anything is fine as long as we win, you know? Because like I don't think that's a good way to win. It just like signals more of the same, which is that the Democrats actually believe in nothing and they're coarse opportunists, you know?
uh, again, columnist brain or writer thinker brain says I agree with you that we need an economic plan, and that plan needs to be about affordability. And it needs about not just the affordability of healthcare, but it needs to be about the affordability of everything, rent, everything like that. It's not just about housing, it has to be about everything, right? Um, and that Mamdani is proof that people care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other part of my brain, the like bullshit detector brain's like, maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know why though. Honestly, like the bullshit detector part of my brain is something I totally don't understand. Like it doesn't actually have any it's not attached to logic at all.
Yeah.
It just like it just spits out opinions, you know? Mostly negative, honestly. It's like always like it thinks everything's bullshit. And so I don't know, like maybe I'm being a little bit too but like I don't like I just think like okay, so like take that woman who does Jennifer Welch, right? For example. She's a
But
big male
is she like the angry, like kind of suburban wine mom type?
She's the one she used to be on she's from Oklahoma City and she used to be on a Bravo show and she's the one who
Oh yeah,
just
yeah, she's great.
she's the one that tore up Cory Booker, you know, like just
Oh yeah,
tore
that's
him
great. Yeah.
off. Yeah. I haven't looked at Cory Booker the same since. She did the whole thing. She was so good at it. She was like She was like, Corey, when you did your filibuster and you did your marathon filibuster, I was so proud of you, and like I felt finally someone is standing up. And then when I saw you shaking Benjamin Netanyahu's hand, all that went away from me. And I was so disappointed in you. And I was like, that's so fucking mean. She just like ripped his heart.
Dude, I don't know if I ever told you this, but in college, my freshman year of college, like it had to be my first week, like first month.
Right.
Cory Booker shows up he was doing that, like he had some documentary Waiting for Superman or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he shows up and
that's like about charter schools, right?
yeah, and
Yeah,
everyone
Jeffrey Canada. He's like one of Bone's most famous. Well, not anymore now that Zohran fucking won. But like before Zohran, he was one of our most famous alumni in Jeffrey Canada. Yeah, go ahead.
No, so like anyway, Cory Booker comes and it was like such a big deal. Like the entire school went. And me and a few other people got stoned and watched, I think, Harry Potter and lost track of time and then like missed the Cory Booker event. And everyone was like, he's gonna be president. And I was like, I felt like for a long time, I was like, man, that guy's gonna be president and I'm gonna have missed the opportunity to meet him. And then like later I was like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't fucking meet Cory Booker. And that's how I feel now, Now I look back on this memory that was originally one of shame that I had wasted this opportunity with great pride,
Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I think when people meet Cory Booker, they feel that way, which is a power of his,
Oh,
But
really?
it's
Like he's charismatic?
yeah, like some people just give off that gravitas and people say he's going to be president next day. One of the people that, as a political reporter, people are always saying that to you, right? They always say, you got to check out my boy. He's going to be president someday. And you learn to filter it out for the most part because most of the people you meet are definitely not going to be president one day. But then when people are very insistent about it, sometimes you listen. I remember I think that guy, Greg Kassar, everybody was saying.
I don't even know who that is.
Greg Casar, you know who he is. He's the congressperson from Austin or from Texas and San Antonio, and he's got a beard. He's kind of handsome. He's a bit short, Latino guy, and he's like the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus.
Oh, okay.
If you saw a photo of him, you would know who he was. But yeah, I don't. What were we talking about? I forget. Oh, Cory Booker and I forget what we were talking about. This happens every single podcast.
The Oklahoma lady who tore him a new one.
Oh, yeah. So Jennifer Welch, right? Let's say Jennifer Welch runs for office. And she has this message like the Democrats are falling apart and we need new blood and I'm going to be the new blood. I'm this pissed off Oklahoma wine mom and I'm going to like fuck everything up, right? Like I'm going to gut this party from the inside. Does it really matter what her economic message is, do you think?
Actually, maybe not. I don't know. You might be right, actually. Yeah, I mean, I do think, like, I'm going to put it in, like, my recovering Maoist terms, but, like, I think the primary contradiction is just, like, the Democratic Party and everyone hates them, And I think the economic stuff is, like, a secondary contradiction. So I think you're right. Like, I think being an just saying that the party sucks and needs to fight, I think is, like, the most important thing. Because I do think I don't think Plattner or Mamdani or any of these populists, if they were more conciliatory with the Democratic Party and were just running on the economic agenda, like I don't think they'd have the same amount of juice. I think they're speaking to the fury of. I mean, that's the other thing too is just the degree to which regular people. I mean, even like I know some like younger finance people that live in New York City who voted for Mamdani, and they're just like. They're just like really angry and they feel, the Democratic Party's out of touch and needs change and needs like a jolt of youth and energy, and I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think, I think I do agree with you that like there are people who are voting for these candidates who are anti-establishment, even if they might not agree with their economic agenda or some of their policy positions, just because they're giving voice to their frustration and anger. And also because they're mad that the Democratic Party is losing. And people don't like losers.
I think that's a big part of it. I think it's just losing.
Yeah.
People hate losing. I don't know. I've had some feelings about it myself,
Especially when it's coupled with feeling like it's not trying.
My daughter's soccer team has been losing, and I've realized that I'm like mad about stuff that I wasn't before.
With the soccer team, or just in your life, like you're redirecting your anger
with the soccer team, yeah. But then I was like, oh, it's because we're losing, Losing everything sucks, and then when you win, it's like fine, and that's like, or you're able to gloss over more. I think the losing was a big part of it. I just think losing to Trump was such a shock to people and so frustrating. And now we're still in a place that people are backlashing against the idea that that the Democratic Party didn't backlash hard enough the last time against Biden and Kamala. Right? Like that's what we're still living through. And Zoran is still the person who feels the furthest from that, right? Like here's a guy who just feels almost completely entirely outside of the political machine itself.
Yep.
He doesn't really talk about Trump that much, right? Like that was the thing about
Barely
his
at all.
election. Yeah, he doesn't really talk about anything. And it was like, oh, here's this odd dude who's just talking about affordability and his little cute socialist ideas, and he just seems like such a mensch.
Yeah.
And that was his campaign, like it was almost by omission insurrectionary campaign. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
By having like no connection at all to the party and basically just being like, I'm not gonna yell at you too much, but I'm just gonna ignore you, you know? And like that's what pissed them off so much.
Oh yeah, because he didn't grovel,
He wasn't groveling, but he also was not like, help me out. He wasn't like, please do X, Y, and Z for me. He wasn't like, oh, here's my girl, like Alyssa Slotkin. He wasn't like doing like rallies although he did do something with Hochul, but like he wasn't doing like rallies with like um Kamala Harris or something like that, right? Like he wasn't doing any of that. He just kind of did his own thing with his social media team. And I think that's when people get really mad is when you ignore them, right? Like that's when people actually get upset at you is when you like are basically, oh, actually you're not important to me at all. Like I can win this without you. And he did, and it's an amazing victory that is quite resonant. All right, the last thing I think we should talk about because we've been going, man, this thing has been going on for a while now, but the thing that I don't understand. I have no idea how many people are watching this. I assume it's like 5 people, but it's fine.
There's an eyeball symbol and it says 133, so I think 133.
I'm sure it's many people are. That's pretty good.
I know. Thank you to the 133 people.
Expecting like 5 people
watching Jay and I.
Because like, do you ever watch live streams like this?
Yes, but they're all about fishing stuff. So,
oh God, you're such a fucking. He watch fishing live streams. What did he talk about on fishing live streams that you watch?
I mean, all sorts of. There's a guy. His name's Bill Wetzel.
Wait, are they live streaming themselves fishing? Because I can understand that.
No.
Oh, okay.
But there's like one guy named Bill Wetzel who's a riot who live stream. He drives back. He lives somewhere else in Long Island and fishes in Montauk, and so he has like a 2-hour drive from Montauk to where he lives in Long Island. So he, on the drive home to stay awake, he will like basically do like a live stream call on the way home where he just rambles about shit at 2 a.m. And that's like very good. I will, if I'm coming back from fishing at the same time he is.
Okay, yeah.
But there's a bunch of other ones.
Okay, that's so specific that I'm gonna say you don't watch live streams. Really, that seems like that's your friend. And you're just checking in on him, right?
No, I do not know Bill personally. But...
Okay, you don't know him personally. I was like doing a FaceTime with your mom is not watching a live stream. Yeah, I how do you feel like he's gonna do?
As mayor,
let's give our predictions on how Zohran is gonna do, and then we can shut this off and go on with our night.
I think he's going to do pretty well. I don't know. I do think he is pragmatic. I think he's going to be more pragmatic than I think I initially anticipated. I'm going to forget the woman's name, but he's keeping the police commissioner, for example, which I think won him a lot of fans because she's been seen as like taking the crime issue seriously, and is not someone who's especially left leaning on those particular issues. I mean, I do think there's some signs that he's going to try to govern as obviously a left-leaning person who's going to try to enact those agenda issues that he campaigned on, but also not as like a zealot, and so I think, if he can, I mean, as we've talked about last time, we talked about Mamdani. I mean, I think the tripwire for him is crime, right? Because I do think just nationally, but New York City in particular, that is one of these issues where like the Democrats, there is a feeling that they are not are out of touch, and they're like not as tough on crime as Republicans. And I think as long as he like, and I don't think he has to do anything insane or like jackbooty, but like as long as the crime issue seems relatively well maintained and, he tries to enact some of his campaign promises, I think he's going to do pretty well. Like, I think he is more sensible, or like more pragmatic and utilitarian than I had originally bargained for. I think I've seen more signs of that. I think that's going to piss a lot of people on the left off. I think there are going to be the online, Twitter communists who are increasingly frustrated with him about stuff. But I think he's going to do a pretty good job. I mean, you said this last time we spoke about him, and I think he is a young dude. He's my age. We were born in the same year. I don't think I could be mayor of, the biggest city in the world, or the biggest city in America,
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, there's, like, just experience stuff that's gonna come up, and, like, is he gonna look too small for the moment, as you pointed out before? Like, I think that is an open question, but I don't know. I think he could do pretty well. And the other thing, and I can't claim credit for this take, but I saw somebody point out that, because he is an immigrant and can't become president, that there might, like, psychologically, because he has that particular cap on the ceiling of his ambitions, right? Like, maybe he will be more focused on actually governing and actually being the governor rather than using this as a platform to some, higher office, And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm actually pretty optimistic. What do you think, dude?
I think that his first test is going to be like this purely speculation, but I imagine that this might happen. I think that Trump is going to send some of these ICE Border Patrol people into New
Yeah.
York City, and that his first test is going to be basically what Brandon Johnson in Chicago is going through right now, which is that you have these people running all through the city, terrorizing people in different communities, and the mayor has to basically step in, right?
Yep.
And the mayor has to constantly be a source of information while also being pursued by the Justice Department, in
Mhm.
some cases, right, for obstruction or whatever.
Yeah.
And that he has to be careful in those moments because there are things that he can say that will get a agitated and, um, Justice Departments that's specifically out for him on his case, right? And I think that's going to be pure speculation. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking if I was Trump, what would I do? Well, I would send ICE and the Border Patrol into New York City just to fuck with him. And then I would say, all right, like 30, how old is he? 34?
Yeah.
34-year-old dude with like your cool hipster wife, mom who made like a Lupita Nyong'o movie. Deal with this, like deal with this. Like I'm gonna show you scenes of terror, and you are gonna have to stand up and actually do something other than do that smile he does, which is like that,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
like he like has a one smile. Like you're not gonna be able to do that smile anymore, and you're gonna have to stand there, and you're gonna have to do something other than make memes, right? Like you're gonna have to stand there and be something other than pleasant and talk about. You can't talk about affordability anymore. I am ripping people out of their houses.
Yeah.
If I was Trump, that's what I would do. Um, but now I feel bad because I'm like, that's a really good idea. You know? But if I was Trump, that's what I would do. I would just I would do Chicago in New York.
Yeah.
What he's doing in Chicago, I would do in New York, and I'd be like, you deal with it. And can Zohran Mamdani deal with that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that Brandon Johnson is doing a pretty good job, given how bad Brandon Johnson was at everything else. I think he's doing a pretty good job. And so if Brandon Johnson can do it, then maybe Zoran can, But like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that type of response that maybe he is going to be difficult for somebody right at the start. And there's going to be all sorts of advisors of telling him all sorts of stuff if that happens. So that's the thing. I'm worried about that a little more than crime. I am a little bit worried about crime, but I feel like crime is coming down since the pandemic, and I think it'll continue to come down. And I don't think that that's going to be too big of an issue.
Yeah.
I think he will be conciliatory about the things he needs to be conciliatory about. And I think that basically they've already found every piece of dirt about this guy that, that they can, and they already threw it out there. None of it stuck. People still like him. And it's going to be super interesting. Like, I can't remember a time when New York City's mayor, since Rudy Giuliani, is going to take up this much attention.
Yeah.
For Bloomberg, he was famous because he was rich and because he did some things that people thought improved the city. But it wasn't really that. It wasn't like everybody was talking about Mike Bloomberg, right? Zoran is in some ways at this point the most famous politician who isn't Trump in the country. Like if you talk about like heat, like heat, like not
Yes,
not
yeah,
like
yeah,
not just like, but like people like he is probably the most, like it's like the iTunes charts,
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not the
yeah,
total
yeah,
number
yeah.
of listens, it's like the
He's
number of
like in the hot
momentum.
100. He's like number
Yeah,
one.
it's like the momentum that you have going up, and so like Zoran is like the most, in that sense, is the most famous politician in America, and he's handled it so far so well. Did you see the video of him reacting to Dick Cheney's death?
No.
He was voting, and a reporter asked him, like, "What do you think about Dick Cheney's death?" And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "He died this morning." And he's like, "Oh." That's all he said.
That's all he said.
I was like, "This dude is unflappable." He didn't give them anything, but by saying, "That's how I felt," I was like, "Oh," and then I had a bunch of thoughts in my head.
Yeah, that's what I did. Like, I woke up and I read the news, just like I told my wife, it was like, "Oh, Dick Cheney died," and then she was like, "Oh," and then yeah, I had thoughts, and went about my day.
Yeah. So maybe he's the most talented politician of all time and he can handle all this type of thing. I hope he is, for the sake of the country and for the sake of the politics that you and I both adhere to. But again, my, you know, lizard brain says that maybe he'll struggle a little bit for the first 2 years because they're like back then we were thinking, when we first started talking about him, I was like, the Post is going to be mean to him and they're going to like
Yeah,
install people at his stores and they're going to like put a blitz on him, and like every single crime that happens is going to be sensationalized and blamed on him. But I think this ICE shit, if Trump does it, is going to be like that times 10, you
yeah,
know? Because that's when you look small, and when you just start, if you start like with his background and everything like that, not the Muslim part, but the youth part, if he looks small in those moments, then I don't know, like it's gonna be something that's gonna be hard for him to shake. Are you still
yeah,
there?
yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry, did I disappear?
Yeah. Okay. Any last
No, I
thoughts
think that's
about
right though. Like, I think you're right, but I do think he's so good at social media, and I think being able to turn ICE agents in New York City into viral social media clips and generate a lot of media. Like, I think he's going to be like savvy in a way that the Chicago mayor is not, about generating national outrage about those kinds of things. So I don't know. We'll see. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be, it's not going to be without its bumps.
Okay, he's okay. So let's do one last scan to make it into a live stream thing, and look at what has been going on. Zoran is on the front page with his trademark smile. It's kind of like this. It's like, I don't like it looks like he's almost wincing or something like that. Uh, and everything else is wrapped up. Do you feel like we're in a blue wave right now?
Yeah, I do,
I think so
because
too. Yeah, yeah. Okay, go
and
ahead. You explain why.
one of the reasons is like it feels like we're in a blue no matter who moment, you know, because Spanberger won, Donnie won. They have wildly different politics. I mean, they're running in different kinds of places, but yeah, like I do kind of feel like we are in the middle of a blue wave where anyone with the blue next to their name can do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. And I think that basically we reached a point where, um, I think that the Trump swat, like the Trump young men thing, that helped to animate his candidacy, but also made him like the viral star of the world, even after he was already the viral star of the world. I think that that's shifted.
Yeah,
Like, I think that that's shifted. And I think some of those young men are now groypers, and that's terrifying, right? Like, they're like legitimate like fascists or whatever, gone very dark, like Nick Fuentes type people. And then the other part, I think, have just kind of come back and they're just going to be libs,
yeah,
right? And they're not going to be that and some of them won't be political at all. But I think that the surge of like, oh well, we're angry young men and the world has left us behind and we're gonna vote for Trump because haha, fuck everybody. I think that's past. And
I
I
do
think
too.
part of that is because I think that those people are probably disappointed in Trump. But I also think in the other sense that those people are disappointed in Trump because he's not doing the isolationist thing that they want. Right. Like
Yes,
he's not pulling out of all these foreign conflicts. And if you're like a Nick Fuentes guy who's like America first, and you're going to be deeply disappointed in Trump. That doesn't mean you're going to be voting for Mikey Sherrill, but it might mean that you vote for Zohran Mamdani, right?
yeah,
Like that's like the way that these things work. Like these dudes are only, somebody like Joe Rogan will get down with Mamdani right?
Oh,
Way
for
before
sure.
he gets down with like Kamala Harris, and way before he gets down with somebody like I don't know, like Mike Johnson or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like he's gonna always or like
Ted Cruz.
Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz, yeah, right? Like he's gonna like his thing is probably Trump and then Mamdani. Like I bet that's it, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's even flipping right now because people like winners, man. And I don't know, this dude won, and I don't know what a strange time. It's like I was very happy this morning with the thought that he would, like it was like a rare moment of me like just being like, oh, this is gonna be great. He's gonna win, and we're gonna have this moment to just be happy that he won. Even though I obviously have so many reservations about it, like let's just like enjoy it, right?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, like a good guy won, and he's pissing off all the right people.
What more could you want?
And like and it is a statement of the people of I sound like I would never talk like this, so I'm sorry that I even began it. But it is a statement that that type of politics that they tried to do on him, which is so dirty, you
Yeah.
know, that it didn't work. Like that's a good statement too.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not just it didn't work in New York. It didn't work anywhere. Like nobody
Yeah.
bought that shit. Nobody was like, "Oh, he wouldn't go to Israel." you know, he said he would stay in New York and take care of New York's problems. How dare? Like nobody said that.
No.
So it makes me think that like a new type of I mean, I was talking to my friends about that this morning, and I was just like, like I just think that we are in the midst at the beginning of a complete shift in what politics are in this country, and that there is a horseshoe that is forming. Um, but not just that, I think that it is that like essentially there is the anti-establishment group of people that started to form around Trump has actually disaggregated from Trump, but it's gotten bigger, right? And that anything that smacks of the establishment is gonna basically be tossed out in the
Yeah,
next
like,
10 years. And even things like us, like our jobs, I think will be gone. Like I think that will be relics because I think that the for us, like as mainstream journalists, I think that we rely a lot on a type of conventional wisdom, like a conventional way of thinking about the way the world works. And we used to be able to describe what that way is, right? We used to say like, oh, well, the hard left is always wrong, the hard right is always wrong, the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Like that's the type of thing that we would say, or we'd be like, oh, all the politicians are liars, and like the
yeah.
truth, follow the money. Like those are types of conventions that journalists would use. And I just think at this point, like nobody really believes in any of that stuff anymore. But the reason why it's hard for them to believe in is because we don't know how to talk about it anymore. We don't know what the story that we're trying to tell is anymore, right? And
Yeah.
so I think about that a lot just because of my job, which is like opinion columnist for the New Yorker, whatever the fuck that means, like I'm like, well, what am I doing? Like, what is the point of view that is associated with that title? Right now, the title obviously confers some personal benefits for me. Just like people meet me, like, oh, you work for the New Yorker. They're nicer to me sometimes. I've never had someone be like, fuck that, you work for the media, but I don't know. I
Like
live
I
in
read that
Berkeley,
in my
California.
dentist's office.
People are gonna be impressed. But in terms of like what does that mean on a broader scale, I don't know anymore, and that doesn't mean that I hate my job or that I think my job is pointless or whatever. I just think if we're all honest, like we don't know what that means anymore, right? Like what is the point of view that we're trying to put out into the world as like the establishment media? We don't have one anymore. And so that means that every other narrative is going to be more compelling because it is against us, right? And like people don't really trust us anymore. So I don't know. I think that Zohran is part of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I think that's right, man. I don't know. I think it's also just hard to figure out how much people in our position even move the needle, right? I mean, the New York Times, has had pretty vociferous anti-Mamdani coverage for the most part, and he won, so
you
it's not.
think? I
Yeah.
felt like it was okay. But I always
Well,
feel
what
that
I feel like a couple months ago was worse. I think you're right. I think the tide has slowly turned, particularly as the Dems have sort of gotten a little warmer to him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just like
Mhm.
it's unclear how much any of this, the pontificating matters, and how much it's the comedians talking on podcasts or whatever that are really moving the needle.
Yeah, I don't even think it's them as much anymore. I just feel like it's like we're at a point of real chaos, and anybody who is good at talking to people is going to do well. And I don't know, this guy is so good at talking to people. I mean, he's so he like just feels so compassionate. I think for people when they talk to him, like he feels like he cares and he's funny and he has a sense of humor and he doesn't take himself all that seriously or whatever. And, underneath that, I just think, what type of man runs for the mayor of New York at his age? But that's okay. You can say that about every politician. That was always my problem with Mayor Pete. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
you're the fucking mayor of South Bend. Why are you running for president? I don't trust you. But
100%.
I don't know. At
Skip
this
some
point,
steps.
basically anybody is is going to be part of that. All right. How do you think we did in our first live stream? Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, dude. Let's do it again for sure. I am.
Like it was easier than recording the podcast in some ways. Although I
No,
have to stare at
my
my.
phone is about to die, so I have to figure out some way to charge my phone while we're doing this. But I think that's like a technical
I think you should
challenge.
just get a new phone.
Probably. I mean, I keep going
What
through them,
iPhone do you have? Like what number?
What number are we on now? I'm 2 phones ago, so whatever. Like,
Oh, so it's not that old. Yeah,
no, but dude,
I think we're on 17 now. So you
I
have a
have these like
15.
bags that are supposed to be saltwater proof because I need to have my phone with me when I'm fishing, but
Yeah.
they never are. And then the like charging port gets like all fucking fucked up with salt water, and then I can only charge it via like one of those contact magnetic chargers on the back. I don't know.
Yeah, get a new phone or something. Yeah, I think we should do it again because I feel like it was the only problem I had was I kept having to stare at my own face, which I've just find so strange right now because I just because of this because I
Your haircut, yeah.
yeah, I'm just like it's kind of hard to look at. I'm just like I don't and so I've just been trying to evaluate how strange I look with all my hair cut off at this point, and it was a little bit distracting. I think that was the bad part of it, but that's just my vanity. I could look somewhere else and just not look at the camera at all, and then we wouldn't have this problem. But I hope you enjoyed the live. I did see that a bunch of some we had a lot of signups for the we had a whole bunch of people actually sign up for subscribe to the Substack during this, so I guess it did help in that way.
Look at that.
Actually, we had a ton of people sign up, including my mom.
Think about how bad it would have been if they saw our face and we were like talking live and you just see the subscription numbers drop.
Yeah, I know.
I
So
fucking hate this.
I guess this worked. That's great. Okay, so we'll do it again. I actually had fun doing it, and I think
That's
so
super fun.
for the subscribers who are looking for the podcast, or especially for this will be up. It's supposed to be once we stop, it'll upload and be its own post. And then for the people on Patreon, I will somehow figure out how to get the audio out of this, and then we'll post it on as a podcast tomorrow, or maybe even tonight at home. Oh, I have a PTA meeting I have to do, a Zoom PTA meeting, so maybe I can't do it tonight. But yeah, the PTA meetings are great. I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like me and it's just
Stalinist J of the PTA court. Yeah.
They don't know that yet. They don't know my Stalinist.
They will find out.
Tonight is when I sparked the revolution. I steamroll the opposition. No, I mean it's nice. You just sit around and you talk about stuff, and then you vote on some things. I don't know. I actually kind of liked it. So, I think I'll be on the PTA next year too. I didn't think I was, but they do. I'm the historian. I mean, I don't know what that means. It doesn't actually come with any. I don't actually log any of the history, but
taking fucking minutes.
I don't even take the minutes. Like I felt like that. I vote on stuff, and then
Nice.
I run the traffic safety stuff. So yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and
yeah, thank you guys.
We'll see you next week. Okay, bye.